K92 Mining, K92 because our project is the K92 project, and in Canada we have difficulty with English, so they couldn't pronounce K92, so we made it easy and called it K92. Forward-looking cautionary statement, it's a Canadian version, so I'll leave it on for the rest of my talk so that you can read it and understand it, or not. So, K92 mining, as we see it, it's a unique opportunity. We've got rapid, fully funded production growth. Since we declared commercial production in 2018, we've grown to approximately 130,000 ounces of gold equivalent production this year. And with the commissioning of our Stage 3 expansion next year, that'll take us to about 300,000 ounces. About 18 months after that, we then go into our Stage 4, and that takes us to about 450,000 ounces gold equivalent per annum. We've achieved that by significantly growing our resource. We've increased our measured and indicated by over 1,100% and our inferred by almost 800% between calendar year 2017 to 2023. So that's an enormous growth in our resource, which currently sits at over 7 million ounces gold equivalent at over 9 grams per ton. So it's very much a large, high-grade, Tier 1 asset resource. And that, in turn, has led to a high-grade, low-cost underground mine. If we look at this calendar year, our guidance is around 1440 to 1540. But that's why we are doing major expansions underground to lift our production from this year of around 600,000 tons per annum to go up to 1.2 million tons per annum from the second half of 2025 onwards. And around that, we've got a very large land package, over 800 square kilometers, very much in elephant country. Well, it's not really elephant country, as you would all know, but the Canadians don't. There are no elephants in PNG. And it's really driven by an experienced team, with very much a proven track record. And our management team has something like 200 years of experience collectively in Papua New Guinea specifically. So Papua New Guinea, I'm sure most of you are aware it's our nearest neighbor. It was actually an area that, a country that we looked after for many years through until 1975, got its independence from Australia in 1975, so we're going into 50 years of independence next year. K92 itself, we are in what's called the Markham Valley. It's about 20 kilometers across, very flat. We're about 200 kilometers up the road from the Port of Lae, which is the largest port in Papua New Guinea. We're just off the sealed highway, and we're in the desert in Papua New Guinea. Our rainfall is only 2 meters a year, versus Octedi being about 10 to 12. So it's an underground deposit. It's an unusual underground mine, and it's an underground mine that you go up into. So we come in from the valley at about 800 RL, and the top of our deposit is at around 1900 RL. So vertically, the vertical extent of the deposit is over 1,000 meters. So we acquired the project, or the mine, in fact, from Barrick. It had been on care and maintenance for about 7 years. We restarted operations in 2016, or restarted in terms of refurbishment. Restarted actual mining in 2017, declared commercial production in 2018, which was the first time that the project had ever actually made any money. And we did that by expanding the resource. So the previous slide was the resource as it was when we took over the mine. This is 2021, October and December 2021, where we had grown the resource out to be approximately 5 million ounces at around 9.5 grams per ton. We were the recipient of the Theo Lindsley Award in PDAC for the best global discovery for the work that we've done here. So that was 2021, and 2 years later, we've now extended it further, so that we're over a kilometer vertically, and we're almost 1.5 kilometers along strike. It is still open to the south. It's still open at depth. And so we'll continue to grow the resource as we go. When we look at plus 5 million ounces, we're one of the highest grade deposits that's held by a listed company in the world. So we've systematically expanded the project. We took over the project. It was a 150,000 tonne per annum operation on care and maintenance. We refurbished it to 200,000 tonnes per annum. We made our discoveries, so we doubled our throughput to 400,000 tonnes per annum. Did another stage to take us to 500, and we're currently running at 600,000 tonnes per annum. And a lot of that was done during COVID, when we really couldn't bring anyone in or out. And now we're busy with our stage 3 expansion, which is the construction of a brand new plant going to 1.2 million tonnes per annum, 300,000 ounces a year. And then beyond that, going to stage 4, which takes us to about 1.7, 1.8 million tonnes and 450,000 ounces. Operational guidance for this year, we're 120 to 140,000 ounces, and our cash costs are 820 to 880. Over the next 2 years, we'll spend about 210 million on our expansion and about 120 million on sustaining capital. So we spend over 300 million over the next 2 years in terms of our capital. In terms of setting up the mine to deliver, right now we're mining almost 2 tonnes of waste to every tonne of ore, and that's because we're opening up the mine for doubling of our ore production from 600,000 to 1.2 million tonnes per annum. As we get into the mature phase in stage 3 and stage 4, that reverses. And so for every tonne of waste, we mine 1.5 tonnes of ore. So that obviously fairly heavily drives down our operating cost per tonne and our operating cost per ounce. This shows how our costs have been since we started the operation, and how we're peaking this year because we are doing so much underground development. We're mining about 1.6 million tonnes underground and mining a little bit under 600,000 tonnes of ore. As we move into stage 3, as I said, that very much changes and it drives down our costs quite dramatically. In terms of per gold equivalent ounce, stage 3 is sub 800 and stage 4 is sub 700 per gold equivalent ounce. Around 20% of our value comes from copper. Stage 3 expansion, we're using GR Engineering out of Australia. That's a lump sum fixed price contract. It's all up, including the long lead items, about 100 million of our 210 million of expansion capital. We're busy with that construction on site right now, and there's a picture showing some of the civil works going in as we speak. We're also putting in a paste fill plant. It's about $50 million, so around about 60% of our tailings will go back underground. So that obviously gives us advantages in terms of the tailings dam. We're actually more than doubling throughput. We're actually decreasing the amount of tailings that we put onto our tailings dam. So we operate one of only 2 mines in the country that operate tailings. We're also on the grid, so we use grid power from a hydroelectric facility, which is less than 20 kilometers away. And we are 6 kilometers from the sealed road. So from an infrastructure perspective, K92 is really as good as it gets in Papua New Guinea. In terms of transformation of our underground operation, twin incline we committed to almost 3 years ago. So we put in a 6x6.5 and a 5x5.5 twin incline, which comes in towards the lower end of the deposit. So we're about 1,000 meters below surface where we come into the deposit. I know it is open at depth, as I said. Putting in the ore and waste pass system, we're currently doing our first raise, which is a 5 meter, 300 meter vertical extent, 5 meter diameter raise. It's our own raise bore, so we're actually using our own equipment to do this. We use a contractor to run it. We're just upgrading our ventilation, which puts in our long-term ventilation for the life of mine. It's 2 megawatt fans, and then obviously paste fill is a key part of what we're doing as well. And to give you some idea in relation to the twin incline, so you can see the existing incline, which goes up in a 1 and 7. 4 by 4.5. We can get 40-ton trucks down that, believe it or not, going at about 8 kilometers an hour. And the new twin incline that we've just completed, which is 6 by 6.5. So that allows us to do high-speed trucking out from underground. Picture of our raise bore, which, as I said, is putting in a 5-meter raise. We're putting in about 6 of those over the strike length of the mine, so that gives us a lot of flexibility and obviously drives down our costs significantly in terms of movement of material. And of course, the beauty of this is that gravity is assisting you. You're bringing everything down to a level and then you're high-speed tramming it out. We currently operate one heading, if you like, of where we're mining. And over the next 12 months, that will increase to 4 different areas where we'll actually be mining. And that's really what drives our ability to increase our production from 600,000 tons this year to 1.2 by the end of next year, and by 2027, about 1.8 million tons. Looking at our exploration potential, we've got a number of high-priority near-mine targets. We're mining the Kora Deeps right now. It's a twin vein system, 3 to 6 meters wide, running at about a bit over 9 grams per ton. The 2 veins are about 20 meters away from each other. And then in parallel to that, we've got Judd, which again is a 3 to 6 meter wide vein, also with a similar strike length, similar sort of grades. To the south of the mining lease, we continue to extend that resource, both in Judd and in Kora, and also at depth, as we're now able to drill from the twin inclines. In addition to that, we have the Maniape Arakompa systems, where actually Arakompa is our main target at this point in time. And I'll show you a couple of slides on that. It's a similar type of system. So we've currently got, I think, 4 rigs drilling that. We're the biggest explorer in Papua New Guinea. And we currently have, I think, 11 rigs operating. And then we've also got significant porphyry potential in A1 Blue Lake, which currently has a inferred resource of 11 million ounces gold equivalent. So you can see our Kora South, Kora Deeps, where we're looking to extend the resource. We've already got significant results which are outside of that resource, and we continue to expand to the south. As of next year, we'll start looking at extending it at depth as well. Same with Judd. Judd was more recently discovered. It currently sits with about 1 million ounces, but we obviously see a lot of potential to expand that both within the mining lease and to the south. Interestingly, as we move further south, we're also seeing our copper grades increase, and our overall copper grade is around about 1% copper, but as we go further south, we're seeing indications of that increasing to 2 and 3% copper. As I mentioned, Arakompa and Maniape are our 2 main exploration targets that we're looking at outside of the mining lease. Arakompa historically had a resource of almost 800,000 ounces at 9 grams per ton, has not been drilled for 32 years. It's 2 kilometers from the plant, it's 3 kilometers from the mine, and it hasn't been drilled for 32 years. It was drilled by the old Renison Goldfields. You can see some of the results that we've got from drilling there. Included in one hole was 7.2 meters at almost 25 grams per ton, plus 5.7 at 10, plus 5.3 at 6. So this is very much another high-grade system. Strike length, at least 1.7 kilometers that we have so far mapped. We're targeting an initial area of about 500 strike length and about 400 meters. And we'll have our first resource out on that first quarter of next year. As you can see, it is a mountainous region. And importantly for us, Arakompa, very much the same as Kora. We're in the mountain, and so we'll have the ability to come in from the valley and actually mine these high-grade veins from below and truck them less than 2 kilometers to our existing plant. That just summarizes some of our other exploration targets, both porphyry and high-grade. And as I mentioned, it's an 800 square kilometer area that we have. and it is, I think, one of the most exciting areas that you'll see in this region of the world. And with that, I'll thank you for your time today.